Those who are here committing crimes, robberies, shooting at police officers, raping innocent people, have been a harm to our country. I want to sit down and hear the plan on how we're going to address them. Those are the people I am talking about, and I would love to sit down with the Board of Czar and hear his thoughts on how we're going to address those who are harming our citizens. In the era of cancel culture, no one's afraid to be honest about the truth. Well, cancel me, because I'm going to protect the people of this city.
Okay, so if the stuff about the migrants wasn't clear enough what Eric Adams there was doing, the reference to like, oh, I'm being canceled, that should have been. That was Eric Adams facing corruption, bribery charges, those sorts of things, making a play for the right to hug him to their bosom, for Donald Trump to feel like, oh, we have a Democrat, he's a notable Democrat, like he's known on the national stage and he's criticizing Joe Biden. And also he's as corrupt as I am, maybe. So maybe there's something to this guy. And it was pretty clear what he was trying to do there, Eric Adams. Well, you know what? It worked. That's all it took. The Justice Department is backing off. They are dropping the federal corruption case against Eric Adams. And look, if they wanted to drop it because they looked into it and found that the evidence was not as strong as previously thought, that's fine. That's fine. Look, I don't know all of the ins and outs of the case or the evidence. Maybe the case was actually weak, but does anyone think that that's what happened here? No, it's transparent. Donald Trump found a Democrat, a corrupt Democrat, someone he could sort of hold something over, who's willing to criticize his own side for now, because he might be switching, which we'll get to. And he sucked up to him, he went to Mar-a-Lago, he hung out with him, and now the charges go away. And in particular, like if you don't get how utterly political this is what Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove said. The pending prosecution has unduly restricted Mayor Adams' ability to devote full attention and resources to the illegal immigration and violent crime that escalated under the policies of the prior administration. So he hit Joe Biden, we love that, was great for us. And so now, as a treat, you're not gonna go to prison for the corruption that it seems like you might have done. And so, look, this is totally fitting in with the style of government that we have. It's not a democracy, it's not a republic anymore. We have something straight out of The Godfather. You have Donald Trump, and people can come to his desk and they can ask for a favor, and they trade something, they give him something that Trump wants as well. And in return, laws don't count. Not if he likes you. You can be pardoned. Doesn't matter if you tried to bludgeon the life out of a cop with your bare hands. Doesn't matter, you can walk. Doesn't matter if they potentially have a very strong case of the exact sort of elite corruption that you pretended to be running against, with all that stuff about draining the swamp and all of that stuff. And now you're in there and you're collecting all the swamp creatures. They owe you something, you give them something. It made for an acceptable couple of movies back in the 70s, but I don't think it's any way to run a country. What do you think, David? Did you see this coming?
No way to run a Justice Department. I mean, this is how your Department of Justice runs in a third world banana republic. And the fact is, there is a slightly sort of more transparent way, as sickening as it might be, that Donald Trump could have done this. He could have issued a pardon to Mayor Adams and said, I'm pardoning him, this is on me, and here's the reason I'm doing it. And then we can make a judgment, just as we did with the January 6th violent offenders, whether or not this was appropriate. But for Donald Trump to essentially have his Justice Department just suddenly drop the case, that is really despicable and disgusting. And I think it smears not only Donald Trump, but it also smears the rule of law. And a lot of people are still counting on the Department of Justice to prosecute crimes that happen in their cities or their states, federal crimes. And now I don't think you can trust the Justice Department to do anything unless you're a Donald Trump supporter, donor, somebody who's giving him something that he wants.
Yeah, and look, when I see stuff like this, I just think like they keep telling us like, hey, you don't get to be freaked out about anything Trump is doing because he's just doing what he promised to do. No, I'm pretty sure he promised to get rid of corruption. I'm pretty sure that's what he's been promising to do for years and years. Now, we who watch the news all the time know that that's not anything he would ever want to do. His life has always been utterly corrupt, even before he tried to seek elected office. But like coming in and you're letting violent criminals go because you like them politically. You're letting a guy who might have solicited bribes and committed wire fraud and foreign contribution, all that because you like him politically. It's all just about your personal relationships. And I've been telling people, I made a promise that this is going to be the most wildly corrupt time in American politics for probably the last century. And he's already making that clear. They already shut off, there was an organization, regulations where the DOJ would make sure that companies weren't paying foreign bribes to foreign officials. He just ended that because he thinks, well, it's good for business. So we should have them just bribing countries. And I'm sure it'll only go that one way. They won't be accepting bribes or anything like that. Certainly he wouldn't be accepting bribes as he did the entire first term of his presidency. They got rid of all the solicitor generals. So now you don't have independent investigations. All of this points towards corruption. That is the main through line of everything that he has done. More corruption, more elite control, and the elites free from the consequences of their actions, no matter how strong the evidence actually is. That is what the MAGA movement is. At its core, the substance wrapped around all of that is just endless identity politics. And so, we'll attack some trans people or whatever. We'll do that. That'll be fun. Black and brown people have never actually deserved a job or whatever. So we'll give you that. And then while you're all focused on that, we're gonna be raking it in. And by the way, we'll close on this. Eric Adams is keeping his options open. He might switch to the GOP. Not because of like anything political, but just they saved me from prison. So I guess that's more important than whatever my supposed values or principles have been my entire life as a full grown damn man. So that's fun. When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?